Hi, I'm Christine Cushing, and welcome to another helping of my favorite foods. Today we're going to get really homey to a recipe that probably every culture on the planet has some variation of. This is my take on chicken noodle soup. Let's go. My chicken noodle soup starts with a whole chicken. So I got a little bit of a shortcut for you. This is not something I often do, but I'm going pressure cooker today. Yeah, baby. Everything that I'm doing here can be done this part in a regular pot too, but this does save you a bit of time. So I thought, why not? Let's do the first part of the chicken soup, which is the broth, in the pressure cooker. I've got myself here a beautiful organic chicken. This is about 1.5 kilos, roughly 3 pounds. This baby is going into the pressure cooker first. Now what I'm going to do is just put a few vegetables in there. I'm doing basically a mirepoix, so onion that's peeled, quartered, onion, celery, which I'm keeping in big pieces like this, carrots, very important. I actually bought really nice quality but big carrots like this, and I thought I'm going to put them in whole because what's going to happen, the pressure cooker obviously is going to really intensely cook that chicken. I want the carrot to kind of survive that. I don't want to chop it up because it's going to be totally mush. And then we're going to reuse the carrot in the other part, so part 2 of the broth. That's why I kept them whole. So all this stuff going in, mirepoix going into the chicken. Now that looks a little bit weird, whole carrots, but that's the reason for it. Couple of garlic cloves, just whole. Now we're gonna make what is called a bouquet garni. Have we made a bouquet garni before together? I don't think so. So I'm gonna show you, there's a few ways of making a bouquet garni, and then I'm gonna tell you what it is. You can do it in a cheesecloth and make like a little satchel, or actually do it in leek leaves. So that's how I'm gonna do it. This is just a little trick to put some aromatics into any kind of broth or stock, and then you can fish them out easily. So that's what I'm doing. This is going to be leaves of thyme going in, bay leaf going in, a couple of them. And here's where it gets interesting. I actually put some ginger into this, so it has a little bit of an Eastern feel. I mean, ever so slight. So I'm going to do a couple of slices of ginger. That's going to go in there as well. I'm going to also do some lemon. And what I do here is actually take a peel, like a peeler, and just take a little strip of the lemon zest. Last thing to go into my bouquet garni, and this one's a bit tricky, are whole peppercorns, because they're probably going to slide out, but I'm doing it anyway. Whole peppercorns I often add to a stock, a broth. They're a good way to kind of get a little feeling of the pepper, but not have it become so prominent. So those are going to go in too. And then we tie this baby together. So I just wrap it around like that, and then we get to fish this out. So it really does, I can't emphasize enough all of these aromatics, what a difference it makes in a soup. Okay, look at that little guy. All right, so that's my bouquet garni. I'm gonna set that aside, that's gonna go in. So how else do we get flavor? Herbs are a really big part of the flavor. So I'm gonna be adding some parsley to this soup later on at the end. But the parsley stems have great flavor as well. So I'm going to cut those babies off, and they're going to go right into the soup. Bouquet garni in. A little bit of olive oil is going to go in there. Now the chicken is going to render, obviously, its fat, but the olive oil is going to give it a little bit of flavor too. And last, and absolutely not least, I'm adding something, again, a little bit Eastern, and this is, do you know what it is? It looks like this when it's in its whole form, this when it's powdered form, turmeric. Gonna go in with some salt. And I'm actually gonna go in with the juice of half a lemon in there too. Just because I tried not to do it, but you must know me by now. I'm crazy about lemon. And in a chicken noodle soup, you gotta have some lemon. So going in with lemon. You wanna be careful with the pressure cooker because there's a maximum allowance for volume. So I'm just gonna put in 7 cups. That's what this one will take. Normally when people say 15 minutes, so this pressure cooker, it's gonna take just 15 minutes to cook this chicken. The challenge is, and this is the one downside, it takes about 20 to 25 minutes to come to temperature. So is it really 15 minutes? It's 15 plus 25. Still a lot less than doing it on the stove. High temperature, 15 minutes of cooking. Are you ready to see our chicken broth? And this is super hot. So I'm gonna fish out the whole carrots. Look at these. They're tender. Fishing out our bouquet garni. The aroma here is really incredible. That chicken has really done an incredible job of giving us the most flavor. So now I'm gonna pull that chicken out. I wanna be super careful because that's hot, hot, hot. It's just falling apart. Now that golden hue, you see that color? That's the turmeric. So I gotta let that cool. Now this is gonna be strained because this is the broth. Now we wanna make the chicken noodle soup, which is super easy. So pot coming on. Voiceover confession, we didn't really need a bouquet garni in this recipe because I'm straining it, but I really wanted you to learn how to make it. I wanna get every last drop of that broth. And I'm almost gonna exaggerate the salt because the pasta's gonna go in there, the noodles are gonna go in there, and that pasta's gonna absorb some of the salt. So it might seem a little bit much. I will add a bit of pepper. So this becomes, basically the broth becomes the soup. And look at these, any noodles that you can find, but check out how beautiful these noodles are. I thought they were so cute. I'd never seen them before. Lots of texture. The noodles are boiling. I'm gonna add a little oregano, dried oregano to this, just to give me a bit more flavor on the back end here. All right, I think this is cooled down enough. Really, I just take this apart with my hands. I'm gonna remove the skin. Still pretty hot, actually. So just enough that I can chop up this chicken because it's gonna go back into the soup. But I don't wanna rapidly boil it because I'm gonna overcook it. So this is the white meat. The wishbone. Shall we make a wish? I wish for some chicken noodle soup. My wish came true. The difference between a broth and a stock, broth generally means that you have meat in your pot. So you're simmering meat with some bones as well. That gives you a broth. So broth is not going to cook for 15, 20 hours. But bone broth, we're going to leave that aside because that's something totally different. Stock is when you take raw bones or roasted bones and you cook them down for a long time. So this is a broth because I had the whole bird in there, bones and meat. If now you think, I'm gonna just take a chicken breast, put it in with some aromatics and boil it. Okay, you're gonna get some flavor, but it's gonna be minimal at best. So this whole chicken really gives you that flavor. It does all the work for you. Ha, it's hot still. So my chicken is done. Everything else is done. The only thing I want to do now, remember I have my reserved carrots. I'm going to just slice those up. So we have cooked carrots back in there. And I didn't put them in purposely so they don't fall apart. Needs a little bit more salt. And guess what else it needs? Lemon. Going in with some more lemon. Acidity is a great tool to heighten all flavors, even things that are acidic, acidic fruit, raspberries. You add some lemon, it wakes everything up. So it's a great way to introduce and kind of lift the flavor of anything. Just about a minute before I think my pasta is going to be done, so it's still going to be more than al dente. I'm going to add back the chicken and the cooked carrots. Now it's starting to look like chicken noodle soup. Yeah. Now comes a beautiful, I would say good half bunch of fresh parsley. So that is my homemade chicken noodle soup. Half of it was made in the pressure cooker and the other half, which was the easy part because the pressure cooker did all the work. Now I want to show you how beautiful this chicken noodle soup looks. The smell, the aroma, it really tastes like home. If that doesn't say homemade, I mean, come on, right? I love these little noodles. They're so good. But I'm going to take a little bit of the chicken. It's really that homemade chicken soup. You got to try it. Perfect balance for me. It's so wholesome. It really just tastes like somebody gave you a big hug. Thank you for joining me on another helping of my favorite foods. Please try this homemade chicken noodle soup. Send me your comments. Let me know what's going on in your kitchen. Like, share, help me grow the channel. See you next time on My Favorite Foods. Bye.